Yes, dear students, welcome back. In the chapter of A Tiger in the House, class 7. Here we are starting the second part, the second section of this chapter. The first part you have heard about the introduction of tiger and what is the role of grandfather, the two pets were there, and the author as well as how the tiger was found. There are many things which we have observed. And now moving to next, that is the how this tiger was shifted from house to zoo. So in this portion we are going to cover it up. So students, here I'm going to start. He slept at night in the cook's quarter. Quarters means here a special house is provided to the servants, to the employees of the house who are working as a their part time, who are working in their house. They do chores work, they do household works. So here the who lives in quarter, Mahmud, the servant who used to live in their house, and was always delighted at being let out by him in the morning. And the tiger was so happy to come, always to come out by him after having a peaceful sleep. One of these days, declared grandmother in her prophetic manner. Prophetic means predictful or a futuristic manner. She said that now, what she said, we are going to find Timothy sitting on Mahmud's bed and no sign of the cook except his clothes and shoes. And what she found that the Timothy was actually, there was a separate bed in the quarters in the Mahmud house, where the Mahmud used to sleep. Beside his bed, there was a small bed was situated or placed for the Timothy. But one day, what the grandmother found that that the Timothy was sitting on the Mahmud's bed, and there was no sign of clothes, no sign of shoes, means that he has torn up, biting them by his sharp teeth. So he has ruined his almost all stuff. Of course, of course, it never came out to that, but when Timothy was about 6 months old, a charge came over him. My dear student, here the meaning here it misspelled. It actually it should be a change. A change came on him, that he started behaving something strange, as he was so pity. He was so nice, cute, but now he is changing in his behavior. So he is looking so odd, he is looking so strange. How? Sorry. He grew steadily less friendly. As he was growing, he becoming less friendly. As he was so friendly, but now he is becoming less friendly. Went out for walk with me. Now the author is saying that whenever I took him for the walk, when he was at the growing pace, he would try to steal away to stalk a cat or a someone's pet peckins. Now here, what he was trying to do, he was trying to steal away. Stealing means making other run, making other people or animals away. So as he found, whenever the Timothy found any cat or any dog on the way, on the road, so he is trying to catch them or trying to make them fear, make them scared by trying to hunt them. So it is a matter of that he is becoming so less friendly. There is these are the examples which proves that he is behaving so strangely. And what is Pekins? Pekins is a breed of a pet of dog. How it the Pekins dog is in a small size and having very good hairs on his whole body, and he is a very long face, or long we can say nose. So that is the quality, that is the quality of this dog. Sometime at night we would hear frenzied cackling from the poultry house, and in the morning there would be feathers lying all over the veranda. So what happened in the night, we feel that there is a frenzied cackling. Frenzied cackling means uh, a noise, or we can say here uncontrollable, which is which is not controllable. That crackling is a noise. Sometimes we found that there is a big noise coming from the poultry house, and who make noise in the poultry house, especially hens. But when we woke up in the morning time, especially I found that there were feathers in our veranda of hen. So it means that at night he might be eating some pigeons, he might be eating some other birds, or maybe hen. So these, we found some feathers spreading all over the veranda. Timothy had to be chained up more often, and so what we started doing, we started doing chained up. We started doing him chained up, so that he could not go away or not harm others. So here, this is the starting of changing his behavior. And what if he constant remain in this behavior? Definitely he could bring some assumption, he could bring some issues for the family. As we know that he is a wild animal, so he is having his own instinct, he is having his own behavior, a way of life. When we begin to Timothy had to be chained up more often, and finally when he began to stalk Mahmoud about the house with what looked like villainous intent. Here, one day what happened, when the Mahmoud was trying to give him food, what happened, he is trying to attack on him. He is like, the Mahmoud was wandering all over the house to escape or to save his life, and Timothy was running behind him. And in this situation, the cook, the servant, Mahmoud, found him in a very different or very strange face or in a mood. How he was looking? He was looking villainous. Villainous means demon. And demon, my dear student, demon is a meaning of a bad soul, or it is correlate with, we can say, bad things or wild things. Means that in this time, in the eyes of Timothy, was not showing that he is a pet, and in this time he was, seems like that he is a habitat of forest. He was not seeming like that he is a part of the family. He was looking like that he is a part of the forest and trying to kill the prey. And so in this situation, which makes whole family very fearful and terrorful, so grandfather decided it was time to transfer him to a zoo. So that was the reason the grandfather took him to the zoo. The nearest zoo was at Lucknow, and 200 miles away. The Lucknow Zoo was 200 miles away from their house, reserving a first class compartment for himself and Timothy. No one would share a compartment with them. Grandfather took him to Lucknow, where the zoo authority were only too glad to receive as a gift a well-fed and fairly civilized tiger. Now, from their place, the name of their place was Dehra. So from Dehra to Lucknow, it was to almost 200 miles away. So they came Lucknow by the train, and they reserved the whole compartment, but nobody was trying to dare to sit with them. Only grandfather and only the tiger was inside the compartment, and the rest of the people were sitting in the different compartment. So when he was taken to the zoo authority was so happy to receive such a beautiful gift in a form of civilized and a mannerful tiger, who is looking so fat, who is looking so fatty, as well as so fatty means who is looking so muscleful in the body shape, as well as a fairly civilized tiger. Now, in the next paragraph, about 6 months later, when my grandparents were visiting relatives in Lucknow, grandfather took the opportunity of calling at a zoo to see the how Timothy was getting on. I was not there to accompany him. So in that day, what happened? The grandfather got an opportunity to visit Lucknow to meet his family members, to meet his relatives, and during this hours, during this time of period, the father got a chance to visit the Timothy. that Timothy was inside the Jew. So when he went there, he told him, but unfortunately, I was not become a part of this journey. I was not in Lucknow. My grandfather didn't take me. But I heard all about it when he returned to Dehra. But when my grandfather came back to Dehra, to my hometown, arriving at the Jew, grandfather made straight for the particular case in which Timothy had been interned. The tiger was there, crouched in the corner, full grown and with a magnificent stripped coat. Now here, the grandfather directly came in the Jew, and where he was there, in which prison or in which case he was there, he straight went inside it, and the grandfather found that he was behind the bar, interned. My dear student, the meaning of interned means bar, a case, and there were brass channels over there, so he was behind the case. And the tiger was there, but he was sitting, crouch means sit, in his own position, and in this time he was fully grown up, and he was looking so magnificent. Strip coat. Strip means, my dear, there were a long strip of black color in a yellow coat background. So here in the black coat, in a black strip, he was looking so magnificent. A very young and grown up tiger. I would like to show you how he was looking inside the cage, like this one. This is yellow color coat of background and the black strips on his whole body. So, and this is the grandfather. My dear students, now moving to the same. This is the third number we have completed. No, not completed yet. Hello Timothy. When grandfather meet first time after separation of almost 6 months, when the grandfather came back to the Jew and came to near the tiger, the grandfather said, "Hello, Timothy," said grandfather, and climbing the railing with ease. Ease means carefully. That grandfather was trying to climb on the railing where he could directly make contact, can touch the tiger if he come closer to the bar. He put this arm through the bars of the cage. So there were bar, he was behind the bar. So the grandfather put his hand across the bars. And what happened after that? Page number 4. Yes. The tiger approached the bars and allowed grandfather to put both hands around his head. What tiger allowed him? When the tiger found his right owner, he became so happy, and the tiger himself allowed the grandfather to touch him, not only by one hand but also by both hands on his forehead. Forehead means this part of the body. Grandfather stroked the tiger's forehead. Stroke means hit little lightly, and tickled his ear. Ear tickled means we can say it's a kind of activity for laughing, gudgudi. Ears, the grandfather was trying to tickle him through his ear, and whenever he growled, smacked him across the mouth. And whenever he growled, growl means, as I have told you, the voice, the angry noise. And what grandfather did, grandfather slapped him on his face, on his mouth, with open hands, which was his old way of keeping him quiet. And this was the way where the tiger was keeping cold and keeping him calm and cool. So the meaning of this, to make the tiger keep and calm, that this was the procedure to slap on his mouth to make him cool and calm whenever he becomes so aggressive. So here in the next paragraph, he licked grandfather's hand and only sprang away when a leopard in the next case snarled at him. What he was doing, he was licking, he was just touching his hand by his tongue, and as a form of love and affection. But sometime he sprang away, he just ran away at the corner of the cage when when there was a leopard who was also in another cage, who was just beside with the tiger cage, and he snarled as I have told you, when the leopard growled, like making a aggressive noise. That time the tiger got scared, he just ran away and sit at the corner. Grandfather shoot the leopard away. Shoot means run away. Just make him, just trying to just scare him, just trying to fear him that he go away, not disturb him. And the tiger returned to lick his hands again. But every now and then the leopard would rush at the bars and the tiger would slink back to his corner. And what happened again and again, the leopard was not trying to make himself understanding that there is that there is a honor of the tiger, and that leopard should away from the their union, their foundation. But the leopard was trying to again and again, the leopard was trying to make him snarl, make him frightened, and the tiger would slink back. Slink back means run away at the corner. A number of people had gathered to watch the reunion when a keeper pushed his way through the crowd and asked grandfather what he was doing. And what happened, you could see that when the both tiger and the grandfather was meeting with each other, the person who was looking so old was very close to the grandfather and trying to talk to him. The other people who was just watching watching this prospect, they especially came to see the Jew animal. They gathered over there to see that how wonderful moment is this. Then suddenly a zookeeper, a person, an employee who was working over there, he suddenly came to find out his way through the crowd and asked to the grandfather that what he was doing here, why you are just so close to the tiger, because you could take your life at risk. I am talking to Timothy, the grandfather said. Weren't you here when I gave him to the Jew 6 months ago? The grandfather asked, you didn't know who I am? I gave this animal to the Jew authority 6 months ago. I haven't been here very long, said the surprise keeper. Please continue your conversation. The Jew keeper said that actually I have been not working for a long period of time. I'm recently working here, so you just continue your conversation. He just suggested this old person. But I have never been able to touch him myself. He is always very bad tempered. But the zookeeper said that I have no dare to touch this tiger as you are touching this tiger, because in the temperament, in the behavior, he is so bad. He becomes so cruel. He becomes so aggressive. This was the statement given by the zookeeper to the grandfather. Why don't you put him somewhere else? Suggested grandfather. The grandfather suggested to the zookeeper, why don't you put this animal, my Timothy, to another case, to another apartment, because here this is not safe for the tiger. The leopard keeps frightening him. Frightening means make him scared, make him that he got fear from the leopard voice. I'll go and see the superintendent about it. So, and the grandfather said that I would by myself find the Jew superintendent. Superintendent means the manager, the main owner of the owner means who is the main authority, the main officer of the Jew. So I would suggest him. Grandfather went in search of the superintendent of the Jew, but found that he had gone home early. And so after wondering about the Jew for a little while, he returned to Timothy case to say goodbye. It was beginning to jar dark. My dear student, here is also by mistake written jar. Actually, it's meaning of get, get dark. What happened? The grandfather was not able to find the superintendent. So what he decided? He decided to come back. He decided to come back to the same Timothy case to say goodbye, because it's getting so dark. Now, he had been stroking and slapping Timothy for about 5 minutes when he found another keeper observing him with some alarm. Alarm means you hear with full of fear. Here, when there was a time to again get separated from each other, so grandfather was trying to pat him stroking him, slapping him. This is the way to play with each other. And suddenly there was another zookeeper who was observing both of them with a fearful sight. Grandfather recognized him as the keeper who had been there when Timothy had first come to the zoo. So the grandfather has recognized, he had identified that this zookeeper was at the same time when 6 months ago when I brought this small 6 month Timothy to as a gift or as a keep this inside the zoo because it was become little bit harmful for the others. So that the grandfather had identified this zoo person, this zookeeper who was there at when they were having conversation with the authority. Now moving to page number 5. Then, you remember me, said grandfather, to whom he said, to the another zookeeper, to whom he had already seen him, who had already recognized him. Now, why don't you transfer Timothy to the another case away from the stupid leopard? But, sir, stammered the keeper, it is not your tiger. What happened? The tiger said, and tiger suggested to the zookeeper, why don't you shift this Timothy to the another case, because this stupid leopard is always trying to disturb him. And what was the reply of the zookeeper? The zookeeper reply was in a stammering. He was stammered. Stammered means when you got confused, when you have no idea what about to say. That time suddenly people, it's a tendency of people that they start stammering. Hichkichana, that we say in Hindi. It is not your tiger. This is the way might be said by the zookeeper. I know, said grandfather testily. Testily means I know, in an aggressive way. I realize he is no longer mine, but you might at least take a suggestion or two from me. I could understand the tiger. That grandfather said, I could understand what do you want to say, and I know the meaning of that. That from this period of time now, this is not my property. The tiger is all yours. But you could take some suggestion, one or two suggestion from me for the safety, for the betterment of this animal. Now, what was the another reply of the zookeeper? I remember your tiger very well, said the keeper. He died 2 months ago. Died, exclaimed grandfather. The zookeeper said, your tiger, who you delivered here, who you transferred here, who you submitted here, that tiger was dead. That tiger was dead 2 months before. And when the grandfather heard, he got exclaimed. Exclaim is a exclamation of wonder, of surprise. What? Died? Yes, sir. Of pneumonia. The reason of the die is due to pneumonia. The tiger was trapped in the heels only last month, and he is very dangerous. And that due to pneumonia, he died. Grandfather could think of nothing to say. The tiger was still licking his arm with increasing relish. Relish means pleasure. Now, my dear students, you need to understand these 3-4 lines. One side, the second zookeeper was saying that your tiger was dead. But at the same time, when his hand was inside the cage across the bar, that time the tiger was constantly licking his hand by his tongue. One side, this is the situation, this is the scenario, and second side, the zookeeper was saying that he is dead. So why this strange animal is trying to lick him? Why? Because now it seems that this tiger had recognized his honor, and this person, the second zookeeper, is trying to lie, trying to deceive by saying that no, this is not your tiger, it's the different tiger, and your tiger has died. Grandfather took what seemed to him an ease to withdraw his hand from the cage, and The tiger, what grandfather took what seemed to him. Now, what seemed means that the grandfather was thinking in his mind that might be he is thinking that I would not take my hand out of the case and it would take me a long time, a long age, a long period of time to drag my hand outside. So, with his face near the tiger, he mumbled. Mumbled means speaking in a very low voice, whispering. What he said, "Good night, Timothy," and giving the keeper a scornful look. Scornful means like aggressive look. Walked briskly out of the zoo, and in a very haughty way, in a very aggressive way, the grandfather left the zoo and went outside of the zoo. So this was the story of all about a tiger in the house. My dear students, I hope you understood the ending part of the chapter. And now moving to next, the question answer are very easy if you have put your full concentration while I was teaching this chapter. So in a second you would reply me the answer. When and where did grandfather find the tiger cub? Before giving the answer, I must say that you must write the question answers, and you would, after clicking a picture, you would send it as a comment box, so I would check it through as a notebook which we used to check in our classroom as a work. So it is your homework that you have to write answer by your own self. I'm here to help you. I'll help you. I'll tell you that the question meaning, and I would also tell you the answer. When and where did grandfather find the tiger cub? When? First start with when. When the tiger was taken as a baiter in the forest, and where the tiger was hidden behind at the bottom of the banyan trees. Who named the tiger cub and what was it called? The grandmother had given Timothy name to the tiger. What did the tiger cub eat in the initial days? The initial days he used to feed the house servant. He used to feed him a bottle of milk, and after that meat and raw meat and what? The cod liver oils. After that he was given a proper diet. Give the name of the two companies Timothy had. First Toto, who was a monkey, and second is the puppy who was found by the grandfather through the street. What was Timothy's favorite place in the house? Dining hall, definitely, because there was a sofa was placed, and there was a long sofa on which the tiger used to sleep to have relax. And if somebody gets trying to off him, then he snarled. How would Timothy spend time there? Timothy had a great piece of time there, a quality time to play with the two pets as well as the author himself. And because he used to go there, he used to walk, and there are many other things you can write by your own self. Where and why did grandfather visit the zoo? When and why did grandfather visit the zoo? If you have to give the answer of first one. What was the reason to visit the zoo? As when the Timothy was growing, in his whole body there was great changes were being to observed, and he was becoming so aggressive as he was so friendly. But now this stage of life, at the age of 6 months, he was becoming so aggressive, and after that he was trying to scare other animals whenever he was taken outside from the home. And one day he was trying to catch or trying to bite the servant Mahmood. So this was the reason he was taken to the visit, and that's why grandfather took him to the zoo to submit him to give him a proper shelter where he could live in a right way. And why we have given the answer. And when he was at the age of 6, my dear students. Now the other question answer I have here. This written reference to context you have to write by your own self. Now answer the following question number 2. Describe the atmosphere in the jungle camp. So, my dear students, jungle camp atmosphere, you have seen that this is the jungle where it is situated. It is situated at the Shivalik territory, at the Shivalik range, where a big or thick forest is situated, where you have to and in this forest there are variety of animals are there: deer, peacock, wild boar, and wolves. Describe briefly Timothy's behavior towards his companion and the author. So you have to tell the behavior of the Timothy towards the two pets and as well as the author. With two pets, he was so happy. In the initial days, they were trying to disturb him. Like that, Toto is always trying to pull his tail, and the dog who was trying to show him his nail, his forepaw, to let him convince that to allow him to sit on his back. And after that, they become good friends, good bonding with each other. And the author, who was so favorite person in the whole entire family, and the Timothy used to play with his ankle, to rolling his body on his foot and trying to bite, but not bite, but try to bite his leg. Now, next question is, why did grandfather decide to take Timothy to zoo? As I have told you, my dear students, that this was the reason he became so aggressive. He become less friendly, and he is trying to snarl, or he is trying to put away other dogs from his existence, and people is trying also. It becomes a dangerful matter for the family also, as well as he had attempted to catch or to bite or to attack on the servant when he was trying to give him feed. So there was the reason that he was taken to the zoo. What happened when grandfather went again to meet the Timothy at the zoo? The both had recognized each other at the first sight, and the grandfather was trying to pet him, and he became so happy. But at the same time, he was also scared by the other leopard who was inside the different cage. What did the zookeeper tell grandfather about the behavior of the tiger in the cage? The zookeeper trying to tell that he was become so aggressive. It is his temperament is so aggressive, so nobody is trying to touch him, as he is very rude in his nature. So these are the answers, my dear students. I hope you would complete this question answers soon, and I'll check it by online. So thank you once again have with me, and hope so. And soon I'll come with another chapter of your class. Thank you so much.